It happens silently. The dagger never comes from an enemy standing in front of you. It comes from the person sitting beside you, smiling, sharing your bread, and knowing your deepest secrets. Betrayal is the ultimate psychological shock because it violently ruptures the foundation of human connection. When someone you deeply care about turns against you, the immediate reaction is absolute chaos. Your mind races. You want answers. You demand an explanation. A primal part of you wants to hurt them just as deeply as they have hurt you. But this is exactly where the weak lose themselves, and the truly powerful separate from the crowd. Reacting with impulsive anger is a total surrender of your power. It hands the betrayer the remote control to your emotional state. To master this moment, you must first dissect the psychology of the betrayer. People do not betray you because they are strong or superior. They betray you because they are fundamentally weak. Often, their actions are driven by a deep-seated insecurity, an unacknowledged envy of your light, your stability, or your success. They cannot build what you have naturally built, so they attempt to quietly dismantle it from the inside out. They project their own internal darkness onto you, building a false narrative in their heads to convince themselves that their disloyalty is somehow justified. Realizing this changes everything. Their betrayal is not a reflection of your inadequacy or foolishness. It is a loud, glaring confession of their own broken character. You were simply the mirror that reflected their flaws too clearly, and they chose to shatter the mirror rather than fix themselves. The great Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius once wrote that the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. When the venom of betrayal enters your life, the ultimate response is not vengeance. It is not a loud, dramatic confrontation or a public display of your suffering. The most devastating response you can deliver is absolute, chilling silence. Silence is terrifying to a betrayer. They expect your rage. They anticipate your tears. They have already prepared a defensive script for your accusations. But when you offer them nothing but a cold, unbroken void, their entire narrative collapses on itself. Your silence forces them to sit completely alone with their guilt. It removes the emotional fuel they desperately needed to validate their actions. You do not explain. You do not negotiate. You simply close the door and lock it from the inside. You must internalize the fact that your presence, your energy, and your trust are not basic entitlements. They are elite privileges that must be earned and rigorously maintained. When someone betrays you, they have voluntarily surrendered that privilege forever. Modern society constantly preaches endless forgiveness, urging us to turn the other cheek and keep toxic people around out of a misguided sense of loyalty or shared history. But deep relational wisdom demands self-respect above all else. Forgiveness does not require reconciliation. You can forgive a snake for biting you, understanding it is simply its nature, but you absolutely do not invite the snake back into your bed. You heal the wound, but you never forget the tall grass where the snake hides. Moving forward requires a radical, stoic shift in perspective. Do not view the betrayal as a loss of a friend or a partner. View it as a severe, necessary pruning. The universe has forcibly removed a malignant tumor from your life that you were too emotionally attached to cut out yourself. The intense pain you feel right now is just the sting of the surgery. In the aftermath, you begin to rebuild your inner fortress. You become highly discerning, not bitter. You learn to read the subtle micro-expressions, the slight hesitations, and the quiet inconsistencies in human behavior that you previously ignored in the name of trust. Your inner circle becomes much smaller, but its walls become made of impenetrable iron. The highest form of power is walking away from a burning bridge and never looking back to see who set the fire. You take your time, your focus, and your brilliance, and you reinvest them entirely into your own relentless growth. You rise to a level so high that the betrayer becomes nothing more than an irrelevant speck of dust in your rearview mirror. Let him watch from the shadows as you build an empire out of the very bricks they threw at you. The absolute greatest victory is a life lived exceptionally well, entirely undisturbed by the noise of those who lack the honor to stand by your side.